So it's really simple talking about budgeting and saving, but actually budgeting and staying within your lane of budget is a completely different ballgame. In this video, I talk about how to save money no matter what your income bracket is, using easy to understand and remember budgeting and saving principles. What's up, everybody? Hope you're having an amazing week. Welcome to Diskarte Pilipinas. This is a show where I talk about entrepreneurship, content creation, and wealth building. My name is Mendy, and today, like I said in the intro, napakadali pag-usapan ng saving, napakadali pag-usapan ng pag-iipon. But again, doing it is a very, very difficult task. It's not as simple as having a piggy bank, putting your money in there, and walking away. But one thing is for sure, saving money is a first step towards building your wealth, and thus, save you must. Seeing that hard-earned money grow in your account, taking it out and investing it on a business or crypto or stocks is a feeling like no other. Now, syempre, first step pa lang yan, but you have to start somewhere, ika nga. And so I've written down all the techniques that I've been using in my life thus far, plus a couple of more new ones for research in preparation for this year. To start things off, number one, yes, you guessed it correctly, mindset. So pagdating sa mindset, there's about 2 or 3 or 4 types of mindsets that people have when it comes to saving money. Now, to illustrate the first two, I'm going to tell you a story. It's a very classic story. You've probably heard it before. It's a story of Juan and Gregorio. Both of them work for the same company. Both of them make the same amount at 20,000 pesos. The main difference is Juan makes 20,000 pesos. He gets home from a hard day's work, complains to everyone around him saying, trabaho na lang ako ng trabaho, wala na akong pera, wala na akong maipon, I barely have enough to save money. And thus, to take away all the stress, I will sit down, play my game, or do something completely unproductive. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing playing with games to take care of the stress that you've got throughout the day. But listen to this, Gregorio makes the same amount again. Gets home, thinks of other ways to make more money. So what he does is he learns business, he starts trying out things, he watches videos, he talks to people, he consistently finds ways to make more money. Juan has given up on the entire thought of saving more money because he's limited to the belief that all he needs is one job to save money. And that's where the difference lies. Now, at the end of the year, who do you think would have saved more money? Syempre, si Gregorio. From the beginning, started teaching himself business, and even if he failed, he probably failed a couple of times. The same way a lot of people fail when it comes to businesses. Even if he did, he learned business, he moved forward, he learned again, he tried, he kept on trying. And also assuming that he didn't increase his spend on luxuries, he would have a small business on the side that'll make him more money, thus saving more money. Number 2, create life goals if you haven't yet. And this obviously is closely related to mindset. Now, not a lot of people do this. A lot of people like to visualize what they want, the power of visualization, the law of attraction, wishing and hoping and willing that you will get rich. And yes, I do agree that visualization and the law of attraction and willing things to work are a factor. Actually writing it down and visually seeing what your goal is and mapping out what you are and where you want to be 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, or 20 years down the road is completely a game changer. It is essential in forming the right mindset and succeeding in your saving goals and eventually growing your wealth. Now, most people get scared doing this, myself included, kasi nakakatakot thinking, where the heck am I gonna be in the next 5 years? But you can start off by easily having a broad set of goals. Like, do you want to be 100,000 pesos richer in the next 6 or 12 months? Do you want to be a millionaire in the next year or 2 years or 3 years? Do you want to be a billionaire in the next 10 years? Or do you just want to have enough to live a comfortable life, meaning financially free but not really too lavish? It does not matter. The point is you have a goal. You don't need anything above that. You don't need to set high goals because you might pressure yourself too much and you might get disappointed because you aren't reaching these goals. But the important thing is that you get things on paper. And once you've made that, align your mindset and you'll start to begin to feel different when it comes to saving. So set up a spreadsheet or a doc file. I personally use spreadsheets because it just feels easier to use when moving things and visualizing things in a box and grids and stuff like that. But it's up to you how you want to do this. The next thing is a no-brainer, and we'll be combining your mindset along with your future goals, and that is building a monthly budget and tracking your spending. Now, there are many ways to build a monthly budget, right? You've got the most famous, which is 50-30-20. If you don't know that yet, please research on it. But a quick version is 50% on needs or things that you absolutely need, like housing, utilities, food, or transportation. 30% are your wants, and these are the things that improve the quality of your life. Yes, it is shopping or your hobbies or your dining out, the things you actually don't need too much, but make you feel comfortable and make you feel happy. And 20% is savings and debt. Under that, there are a couple of really important things. Number one is saving an emergency fund good for 6 to 12 months. Number two are actual savings. And number three are payments for your credit cards and loans. Now, when it comes to visually seeing your budget and tracking your spending, there's many ways to do this. There's actually a lot of apps and spreadsheets that are for free that you can use to build your budget and track your spending. The main challenge is really to update this on a daily because ang hirap nga naman every time you spend, you put out your phone and you jot it down. And I'm completely guilty of this. It took me years before I got used to really tracking my spending and putting every single cent down. You do not have to do this, but if you really want to get your spending locked in, you have to make it a habit. Even if at the end of the day, that's the only time when you write down your spending, that's okay as long as you get as close as how much you spent within that day and put it on record. Once I saw where my money was going, and trust me, you think you know where your money is going, you actually don't unless you start tracking them on a spreadsheet and seeing it visually. At least that's what happened to me. It might not happen to you, but what I'm trying to say is people that actually make a lot of money track their spending tremendously well. Number four, never buy it now, buy it tomorrow. So now that you've got a budget plan, example again would be a 50-30-20 rule, which is what I used. What I did was the moment I saw where my money was going, I tried to maximize my budgeting and maximize where I put my money. And the simplest but most difficult way to do that was decreasing your percentage of wants. For me, this was a little bit easy back in the day because I didn't really have much money and I wasn't really used to having a lot of wants. So one thing that came to me naturally was when I wanted something, my wait and ponder and I have no money mindset kicks in, which is basically me stepping away for 24 to 48 hours, sometimes a week, in most cases months. What I do is I consistently go to that item and look at that item and just think about, should I really buy this? And what's amazing about this technique is there's actually science behind this. Because how many times have you really wanted something, like absolutely knew that you wanted to get this thing and this thing will make you happy? You research about it, you look at it through the glass at the mall, and eventually buy it. And it does make you happy for a short while, but at the end of the day, once you've got that thing, the feeling slowly fades away. And there's science behind that, like I said. Research on that, because the real dopamine hit is just visualizing you having this thing and you researching on this thing and you being really interested and soul-crushingly wanted this thing. Science says that's where the real dopamine hit is. It basically comes from the anticipation of owning that thing. So wait for 24 hours. If you really decided, go for it. If there's still an inkling of doubt, wait for another 48 hours. The most important thing is you have appropriated the right amount of funds. You've saved enough for buying that thing. Number 5, having separate accounts for your emergency fund, your savings, as well as your payroll. Just to tie this into number 4, what I would do is whenever I would see something, I would wait, and at the very moment that I think I really want it and I've saved enough money, at the very last moment that I know that I absolutely know that I can buy it, I would transfer that money into a savings account which I could not access online. And I know this method is a little extreme, but it does wonders for me and I've made several investments just using this technique. But just going back to the main point, having a separate emergency account, payroll account, and savings account is very essential in locking you in that saving mode. Actually, there's a study right now that completely blows my mind. About 70% of Filipinos do not have bank accounts. Number 6, learn to optimize cash flow. This is popularized by Robert Kiyosaki, the guy that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. And in a nutshell, having a healthy cash flow simply means making sure that all the debt that you get are good debts, right? Which are debts or liabilities basically that you can convert into an asset and that can make you money. A really concrete and easy example that Kiyosaki gives out is loaning out a house versus loaning out some rental properties. When you loan out a house, all the payments that you put in that loan simply goes to the bank and that's a dead end. Now on the other end is taking out a loan on a rental property, and if you do things right, the payments from that rental property should be enough to cover your loan and give you extra income. Now, it actually doesn't matter if it makes you 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 pesos, but what's important is that your cash flow keeps on moving. Number 7, and like the story of Juan and Jorge, find new ways to make more money. This is a no-brainer. Obviously, the moment you increase your income, assuming that you keep track of your spending and make sure that your cost of living does not increase along with your increase of income, you save more money. Also, just a quick note, while researching this, I just found out that a lot of Filipinos actually saved money in 2020, probably because of the pandemic and people not going out and eating out too much. But I'm really hoping that they engage in income-generating activities like investing in stocks or building a business. Last but not the least, number 8 is keep on learning. Like I said a while ago, according to BSP, only 1/3 of Filipinos have bank accounts. And nearly half, or 48% of adults, have savings, but 68% of them keep savings at home. On top of that, however, more than 1/3 of Filipinos actually fail to meet their regular spending needs and do not have emergency funds and resort to loans or borrowing money to deal with emergencies. The study states that of the 7 financial literacy questions, Filipino adults only got 3 correct, as they have little understanding of what compounding interest is, diversification, investment risk, and the effects of inflation to household spending. On another study, 80% of Filipinos nearing retirement age are completely unprepared financially moving forward. It is said that retirees only have an average of 3.6 months worth of personal savings for their retirement. This is the lowest in 8 Asian countries. And all this, really, I see no other reason but just for the lack of financial literacy. These are things that we were never taught growing up as Filipinos. But hey, you can't really depend on other people for life's shortcomings. So all you can really do is equip yourself, right? Depend on yourself, make sure that you are financially literate enough moving forward, and find more ways to make sure that you live the life that you deserve. 2 quick tips. Number 1 is stop lending money to your friends and family. It's a little harsh, I know, but unless it's a life and death situation, you have no business lending money to these people, especially if you're only beginning to start saving or building your emergency fund. Now, unless you're happy to give money away, because that's really how you should consider it, again, you shouldn't be doing this. This piles up easily and really stunts the growth of your wealth. At the end of the day, if you think about it, the money that you did not lend, if you're putting that to good use and making sure that your money works for you to make you more money, by the end of 2 or 3 years, you have a business, you can easily support everyone around you. Number 2 is stop ordering food too much. I know it's very difficult to do this because ang sarap kumain. There's so many food out there, social media, Foodpanda sending out notifications, Grab sending out notifications. But once you track your spending, make sure that you note down how much you actually order from these online outlets, and you will see how much money you've been spending and you're gonna hate yourself. Now, I'm not saying to not indulge once in a while because that's good for your mind and your soul. But what I'm trying to say is be mindful, because saving money and growing wealth is difficult on itself. But if you are unhealthy and unable to move forward in life, is a completely different problem. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys. Do not hesitate to comment down below if you've got any other techniques that you use yourself and that you could share to everyone else, including myself. That would be really, really cool. That's it for this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button, and click the notification bell for a more prosperous and healthy 2021. My name is Benny, and this has been Diskarte Pilipinas.